Okay guys, so in this tutorial, I'm going to show you guys how to make a very simple talking head edit that looks very okay. So let's get into it. Okay, so how are we going to do this? First of all, we're going to listen to the whole audio and then we are going to try to plan the animation in Premiere Pro and plan the video, the edit in Premiere Pro, and then we'll do the animation in After Effects. So before we start, let's just listen to the edit. This is my timeline.
The difference between someone that makes $100,000 a year and $1 million a year isn't just $900,000. It is 9 extra years of their life. Because the person making $100,000 has to work for 10 total years to make the same as the person making $1 million in 1 year does. And the reason broke people are broke is because their time is their only income producing asset and their time isn't worth that much.
Okay, so first of all,
the difference between someone that makes $100,000 a year and $1 million a year isn't just $900,000. It is 9 extra years.
Okay, so I'm going to go through and I'm going to cut all the spaces. I want this to sound more snappy. The pauses, I just want to remove all the pauses. So if your stuff is not selecting both video and audio, you want to click this button to select both video and audio. So you click it. I have my key tools, my ripple delete for cutting. I have my Z to cut, but if you don't have the key mapping, you can use your razor tool and cut it here and then cut it here. Let me zoom in so you can see that little space, and then go back to your move tool using the V tool and then press X. Is going to ripple delete, but if you've not mapped it out, you just delete it and then you pull it back like this. If it's not snapping, make sure you turn this snapping button on and you'll be good to go. So let's play it.
$1,000. It is 9 extra.
So let's play
a year and $1 million a year isn't just $900,000. It is 9 extra years of their life.
Okay.
Because
so we have another pause here. We're going to take that out. We're going to take that out.
Because the person making $100,000 has to work for 10 total years to make the same as the person making $1 million total years.
Yes, I have a little pause here that I don't want. So I will take that pause out.
To make the same as the person making for 10 total years to make the same as the person making $1 million in 1 year does. And the reason broke dollars in 1 year does.
Okay, so let's cut here off again. Let's listen.
In 1 year does. And the reason broke people are broke is...
So we have another pause here. Let's zoom into that so we can see it clearly. And let's cut it up. So, okay. All right. So let's pull this in. If you want your timeline to keep repeating, like replaying, just click this button here and then set using your I and your O, I and O, not I and 0, I and O, I and O. So I is for the left, O is for the right, okay? So I think before I proceed, I think I can show you guys how to set up your key binds to show for the cutting so that you don't have to go through that. So what you want to search is you're looking for, come into your, let me go back. I didn't explain that. Edit, preferences, go to keyboard shortcuts, click it. Then come here. If you see my Z is set to, let me see, cut. I don't think it's cut. Okay, add edit. Add edit is Z. I don't know why it's showing that, but Anyways, let me just check. I think it should be ripple cut, something like ripple cut, something like that. Ripple delete, yeah, ripple delete is X. So you want to make add edit Z, ripple edit X, okay? Add edit Z, ripple edit X. So just make ripple edit, click on here, click here for whatever your own is showing and click X and then click OK and you are good to go, okay? So I hope that part is clear. All right, so the next thing we want to do is want to play it through again and pick out certain sections that need animations, and we are going to cut those sections.
The difference between someone that makes $100,000 a year and $1 million a year isn't just $900,000. It is 9 extra years of their life. Because the person making $100,000, it is 9 extra years of their life. Because the person
Okay, so it is 9 extra years of their life.
Because
so this part is going to be animated, right? It is
9 extra years of their life.
This part is going to be animated. So we're going to replace this. Now, right now, our After Effects is closed. Our After Effects is closed up, right? It's not opened up. So I'm going to select this section. I'm going to right click and say, replace with After Effects composition. And my After Effects is opening up now. So it's going to link it to After Effects. It's going to link it to an After Effects composition right now. Okay. Okay, After Effects is taking a minute. I think it's going to ask me to save the After Effects file. So just waiting for it to load up properly. Yeah, it's going to ask me to save. So I just come here and I save and I say tutorial edit. Tutorial edit. All right. I say okay. All right. So if I come here, now I'm in After Effects, right? It has opened up this composition here, short form content edit, linked comp 01. If you come here, you will see that in Premiere Pro, it has changed to this color. So if you want to edit it, just right click here and say edit original. Don't come to replace with After Effects composition anymore. Edit original. Once you click it, it will open up After Effects. Okay? So I hope that workflow makes sense. So now when you come to After Effects, if you click this effect and control, you're going to see that it comes with 2 default effects. So if you try to preview it right now, the volume is very low. So when you switch off these 2 effects,
it is 9 extra.
You see it's now audible so you can hear it. And don't worry, switching it off will not affect it in Premiere Pro. Right now it's playing as normal. There's nothing happening. So what you want to do is come over here.
It is 9 extra years of their life. It is 9 extra years of their life.
So what we want to do is we want to tag this part. Let's just tag this part 9, right? 9 extra years of your life or their life. Okay. 9 extra years of their life. We're not going to use Helvetica today, so let's switch over to Poppins. We're going to use Poppins font, extra bold, increase the size, increase the spacing, and we are good. Okay, so if we come to Premiere Pro, can you see it has updated itself, right? Okay, so let's go ahead and play the rest of the video.
Because the person making $100,000 has to work for 10 total years to make the same as the person making $1 million in 1 year does. And the reason broke years to make the same as because the person making $100,000 has to work for 10 total years to make the same as the person making $1 million in 1 year does. And
okay, hold on.
Because the person making $100,000 has to work for 10 total years to make the same as the person making $1 million in 1 year does. And the reason...
Okay, so here...
Because the person making $100,000 has to work for 10 total years.
So I'm thinking, how would I illustrate this? The person working...
Because the person making $100,000 has to work for 10 total years.
Person making $100,000 has to work for 10 total years, right?
10 total years to make the same as the person making $1 million in 1 year does.
Okay. Okay. So okay. So this part, we're not going to cut to any animation. So this is the part.
Because the person making $100,000 has to work for 10 total years to make the same as the person making $1 million in 1 year does. And the reason...
Okay, so this part, once again, all of these parts, I've selected everything. We're going to replace it with an After Effects composition. And if you come to After Effects, this is it. Sometimes when you start working, you have a lot of comps. So instead of you trying to come to After Effects and figure it out, just click here, Edit Original, and you are good to go. Okay, so let's hear this part.
And the reason broke people are broke is because their time is their only income producing asset, and their time isn't worth that much. Income producing asset, and their time, their only income producing asset, and their time
okay,
isn't worth that much.
Okay, so
isn't worth that much.
All right, so we're also going to replace this part with an After Effects composition. Okay.
Isn't worth that much.
Okay, so we want to come over to After Effects. Once again, switch off this.
Much. Isn't worth that much. Isn't worth that much.
All right, so let's just say for this part, we want a solid. So we say, just add this text here. Isn't worth that much. All right. So we want this to be like very impactful. We're going to pick something, say, why am I having a lot of italics only? I think I haven't installed my Poppins fonts completely. Whatever is happening anyway. You know what? Let me just switch over to... Okay, let's just leave it at that since I don't have my font. All right, so let's come back to Premiere Pro. We're back in Premiere Pro. And for this section,
because the person making $100,000 has to work for 10 total years to make the same as the person making $1 million in 1 year does.
Okay, so let's edit original, come to this section.
$1 million in...
I mean, that effect is still on, so let's switch them off. Switch them off. Let's play it. Here
because the person making $100,000 has to work for 10 total years to make the same as the person making $1 million in 1 year does. Because the...
Okay, so what we want to do now is we want to add a solid on top of this, right? And what we want to do is we want to do two things. We're going to do show 100K. And remember, this is supposed to be a very simple video, but at the same time, it's supposed to be illustrative enough to explain what is being said. So we're going to say 100K, and we are going to do $1 million, $1 million, right? Okay. So now what does he say? Let's go back to that.
Making $100,000 has to work for 10 total years to make the same as the person making $1 million in 1 year does.
Okay. All right. What we are going to do again is we are going to create something called years. And let's just, I'm sorry, I'm forced to use Helvetica bold. We are going to make this all caps, okay? And then let's just select all three. I'm not animating anything yet. This is me trying to design, and this is how I work when I'm working with clients. I'm trying to be fast, right? I'm trying to be fast about this whole thing, right? So now what I'm going to do is we're going to say 10 total years, right? 10 years. So we're going to do 1, duplicate it, 2, and then move it 3. Let me just confirm this is recording because I would lose my mind. 4, right? 5, 6, okay. So, and don't worry about the spacing right now. 8, 7. Oh my God. What did I do? 8. And then still duplicate it again. 9. Okay. 9. Let's just put it back into place so I can move it with my shift button. I'm using my shift button to keep it on the line. And then 10. So 10. All right, so we're going to select all of them. We're coming to our align, and we are going to, oh my God, my bad. So we're going to align them using this. So it's going to space all of them out equally. It's going to space all of them out equally. All right. And how am I going to illustrate this? So let's listen to the audio again.
$1 million because the person making $100,000 has to work for 10 total years to make the same as the person making $1 million in 1 year does. Because the person making $100,000 has to work for 10 total years to make the same as the person making $1 million in 1 year does. Because the person making $100,000.
Okay, $100,000 has to work 10 total years. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a null. You don't have to do this exactly, but I'm going to add a null on the years. Then, where's my, okay, yeah. So I want everything to be centered. I'm going to click the years, the null, everything. I'm going to come to align and say align to composition. And I'm going to center it. So everything is in the center right now. And, okay, but my years is not in the center. So I'm going to move my years back. Okay. And then what I'm going to do next is, let's move this up a bit. I'm going to draw a shape across like this. Now, for this kind of edit, the idea is not to make it fanciful. The idea is to make it educative, right? The idea is to make it as educative as possible. As educative as possible, as explanatory as possible. Okay, so okay. Then it's going to take the person that makes 100K 10 years to make 1 million, right? I think I'm satisfied with this graphic, right? Let's leave it here for now. Now let's go back to Premiere Pro and let's see everything is updated. You know what? Let's design this scene properly. So I'm going to use the grid style. No. I'm not going to use the grid style exactly. I'm going to use colors from this composition, right? So what I'm going to do is, let's just scale this down. I'm going to pick colors from him. Let's pick our gradient ramp. Okay, and for the upper color, we're going to pick this. For the lower color, let's just pick anything we see on screen. So now it is not. Okay, hold on. Let me pick something brownish. Let me go for something really brown. Okay, yeah, that's more like it. And then for this other color, yeah, I like that. So I'm kind of using his colors. So you see, it looks like, so that when we cut, you don't have to do it, but I'm just showing you like little things that would make your work like stand out. Just saying. You could learn if you want to. So what we are now going to do is, I've duplicated this layer, this gradient layer. You know what, let me delete it and duplicate it again. So we're going to rename this background. This is the background that is covering everything. Duplicate it. And then we're going to add an effect called grid. I know you guys have seen these grid backgrounds everywhere. Okay, now that we've added the grid, first of all, we want to reduce the grid to like 2, right? And then we want the grid to look something like this. Anyways, we just want our grid to look square, right? We just want our grids to look square. And the next thing we are going to do is, under our grid here, let me close the gradient ramp. I don't need this gradient ramp, so I'm just going to delete it off. This is the grid. I'm going to rename this layer grid. And under this grid here, I'm going to change the blending mode to, I think overlay should give me what I want. No? Why did everything go off? Add. Oh no. Oh no. None. Okay. My bad. Click this button if you cannot find your layer style, your layer blending mode for the layer now. So I'm going to try overlay. Yeah, that's better. So I'm going to increase the size of the grid once again to 5. Let's see how that looks. Looks a little distracting. So let's keep it at 3. Let's keep it at 3. That's good. That's good. That's good. That's good. Let's say 2. My PC sometimes can trick me in terms of what is showing on screen, so I don't want to bother myself too much. Okay, so yeah, that's that. So we have this screen. I can decide to add the whole gradient, the blurry effect, and try to blur things out a bit to give it that cinematic feel. Let's try it. Let's try. I don't know. I just like to do it so much. I don't even know where I learned that. I can't recall, but I'm going to add a fastbox blur effect, and I'm going to blur everything by 2, or let's just say by 3. Okay, then I'm going to select here like this. Then I'm going to invert my mask, so this part is sharpened. Then I'm going to feather my mask like this, and I'm going to expand it, feather it further. Just gives a little bit of blur. If I switch it off, everything is going to look sharp, right? but that's just the idea. That's just the idea. Okay. So now we have this part designed. Let's lock this guy. Okay. Where is 1 million? Yeah. All right. So let's come back to Premiere Pro. You can see how that looks. So now we're going to play this whole, we're going to preview this whole. How do you preview a scene in Premiere Pro is click on sequence and click render into out. Into out means this point to this point only, not the whole sequence. So let's just render into out. Okay, it's rendering. Now I'm doing this because we have After Effects compositions, and in cases where those compositions are heavy, you need to do this to be able to have a smooth render. Okay.
The difference between someone that makes $100,000 a year and $1 million a year isn't just $900,000. It is 9 extra years of their life, because the person making $100,000 has to work for 10 total years to make the same as the person making $1 million in 1 year does. And the reason broke people are broke is because their time is their only income producing asset, and their time isn't worth that much. The difference between someone that makes $100,000 a year and $1 million a year isn't just $900,000. It is 9 extra years of their life, because the person making $100,000 has to work for 10 total years to make the same as the person making $1 million in 1 year does. And the reason broke people are broke is because their time is their only income producing asset, and their time isn't worth that much.
Okay. All right, so here we go. 9 extra years of their life. All right. So I think
it is 9 extra years of their life, because the person making $100,000, it is 9 extra years of their life.
All right, so what I want to do is, for this part, right, I think I like the way this subtitle is placed. So I'm going to be using popping my subtitles. In the meantime, I'm going to, let me come over to my After Effects, and I'm going to switch this text off for now. Come back to Premiere Pro, and I'm going to do the subtitling first. Okay? Observe what I'm going to do here now. I'll come here to text. I'll come to transcript, and I'll say transcribe sequence. Okay? I'm going to say transcribe in point to out point only, and then click transcribe. And it's transcribing, it's doing its thing, right? It's working, and we have our transcribe sequence. Very short, very simple, very sweet, very straight to the point, very demure, right? Now, before we change it to captions, what we want to do is we want to preview it over here and check for any grammatical errors, okay? So I'm going to increase the size. Okay, can you see that? So the size is big. Let's preview it.
The difference between someone that makes $100,000 a year and $1 million a year isn't just $900,000. It is 9 extra years of their life, because the person making $100,000 has to work for 10 total years to make the same as the person making $1 million in 1 year does. And the reason broke people are broke is because their time is their only income producing asset, and their time isn't worth that much. The difference between someone that makes
Okay, so seems like everything is perfect. The next thing I want to do is I want to remove all full stops, all punctuation marks. I don't want punctuation marks showing in my subtitles. So this is the perfect time to take them out. This is a workflow that's going to save you on projects, I promise you. Right? I promise you this workflow, it's going to save your ass, right, on projects. All these commas, except the ones in the millions, yeah? Okay. All right. So we have this, and it's looking good. So now we're going to click this button here and click Create Captions. When this dialog box shows, click this. Don't worry about the format. Don't worry about the style for now. What you want to do is select 17, maximum length in character 17, maximum seconds, maximum duration is seconds 3, and then single, and click create captions, and it's going to go ahead and create those captions. Right, so let's watch
The
what
difference
that looks
between
like.
someone that makes $100,000 a year and $1 million a year isn't just $900,000. It is 9 extra years of their life, because the person making $100,000 has to work for 10 total. The difference between someone that makes $100,000 a year and $1 million a year isn't just $900,000. It is 9 extra years of their life, because the person making $100,000 has to work for 10 total.
Okay, so before we continue, we want to make this subtitle to be the style we want it to be. So we're going to select everything. We're going to select essential graphics. If you cannot see essential graphics, come over to window, click essential graphics. This bad boy is going to pop up. You want to be in the edit section. Once again, deselect. See, edit section is blank. Select everything. Edit section comes on. See? Very nice. Now you want to come over here to where his face is showing, and we want to find the perfect placement for our subtitle. Let's just keep the ruler there. Okay, very nice, sweet spot. Once again, select the whole subtitle. Choose our font style, Poppins. Okay, Poppins black, for instance. Once again, make everything capital, right? We want it to look bold, we want it to look sharp. Then we want to increase our font size here. Something around here looks good. And then we want to, you see these buttons here, these two. If you click here, it's going to go to the center. If you click here, it's going to go to the top. Click here, it's going to go to the bottom. So just move it like this. And you see we've lined it up. Let's move it up a little bit more. And then let's like increase it up so it's more visible. We want to also come to the drop shadow and increase the blur up. Designer should understand what I just did there, and then reduce the opacity. Increase it like this. Yeah, so we have that in place. Okay, once again, we are going to play through our animation to see how everything is looking. Let's move this ruler over here. I want to see how everything is looking.
The difference between someone that makes $100,000 a year and $1 million a year isn't just $900,000. It is 9 extra years of their life, because the person making $100,000 has to work for 10 total years to make the same as the person making $1 million in 1 year does. And the reason broke people are broke is because their time is their only income producing asset, and their time isn't worth that much. The difference between someone that makes $100,000 a year and $1 million a year isn't just $900,000.
Okay.
It is 9 extra.
Okay. All right. So what I'm going to do now next is okay, sorry, little distracted. Okay, so let's get into it again. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to perfect the subtitles the way I want them to look, right?
The difference between someone that makes $100,000.
So from 100,000 a year to 900, all of that is going to be animated. So let's just take it out. All right.
The difference between someone that makes $100,000 a year and $1 million a year isn't just $900,000. It is 9 extra years of their life, because the
okay, so it is 9 extra years of your life, right? All right, so what I'm going to do over here is it is 9. So this whole section of this subtitles is 9 all the way down here. What I want to do is stand here with my Z, cut it, right? This first part is going to read it is, right? And then this part is going to read 9 only. It's going to read 9. And let's look at that.
It is 9.
Oh, I didn't clean this properly. Delete this.
It is 9.
Once again, I think I messed with my position. Minus 401. So it's going to be minus 401. So fall back into position, boy. All right.
It is 9 extra years of their life because the person making a.
Okay, so here we want to try some kind of text design to have all the text on screen, right? So let's select this whole part because it's a punchy statement. It's a bold statement, and then we click graph and titles, and then we click upgrade caption to graphics. So what that does is takes it out of the caption area and makes it editable for me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move them into different layers like this. Can you see? As I'm doing this, you're noticing Premiere Pro is adding V1, V2, V3, V4 like that, right? And what I want to do is all of them, I want all of them to show all the way to the end. So that means all of them are going to be on screen. Just pull them like this. So can you see? All right, so let's pull this down. 9 extra years. Let's pull extra years down. Let's pull, it is 9. It is like this. Then let's pull 9 up and click here. When you upgrade to graphic, this place change. Just click this text once again. Increase the size. Okay. And then pull this down. Right. Pull this down like this. It's still in the center. Let's increase it. And then it is, let's keep it somewhere here. Let's pull it somewhere here like this. Okay, and then extra years. Let's pull it down like this. Touch it, increase the size. Right. Increase the size. Okay, of their life. Then pull it down like this. Something like this. I think this text arrangement makes perfect sense. So I'm going to press O. I'm going to press O over here just to preview this section alone. Let's see how that feels.
The difference between someone that makes 100,000 a year and $1 million a year isn't just $900,000. It is 9 extra years of their life. The difference between someone that makes 100,000 a year and $1 million a year isn't just $900,000. It is 9 extra.
Yeah.
Years of their life.
Okay.
It is 9 extra years of their life. It is 9 extra years. It is 9 extra.
So where it says years, I want to break it again. I want to break that text. So I'm going to click Z to break it, to cut it. I'm going to move up. And this is now going to be extra. Okay. And this is going to be years. Okay. We are headed somewhere. Just stay with me. Stay with me, okay? Okay.
It is 9 extra years of their.
Now everything is not aligned anymore. So I'm going to click on extra, move extra to the left a bit, click on years, move years to the right a bit, click on extra again, move extra to the left a bit, and then years, move years like this a bit. Okay? So that is looking good. And then of their life.
Of their life.
Okay. So that looks okay to me for now. Okay, that looks okay to me for now. And it looks really blocky, so I think I'm okay with that for now. Now for this part, we don't need any subtitles because we have illustrated graphics over there. So I'm just going to clean this off. I'm going to clean this off real quick. I'm going to clean this off. If you want to pan your composition, press H. So sorry, this is not like an introduction to Premiere Pro or anything. All right. So for this part, we have...
The reason broke people are broke is because their time is their only income producing. The reason broke people are broke is because their time... The reason broke people are broke is because their time... The reason broke people are broke...
Okay, so how I want this part to read is this.
The reason broke...
Okay, so this is where broke starts.
Broke people are broke. Broke people are...
People
are broke.
Okay, so what we want here is we want to take this part out. This part is going to be the reason, right? And then this part is going to be, this whole part section is going to be broke people. Broke people.
People are broke.
Are broke. Okay. And then
is because their time is their only income.
Okay.
Because their time
is because their time is their only income producing asset. So what we want to do is click this whole section. This is a strong statement in this part. So come to captions, upgrade to graphic. Let's pull this down here, pull this here, pull this here, and just let everything over here. And then we are going to arrange it once again. Make sure that it's showing all the way to the end. Okay, so this part, we're going to move it down like this, just like we did on the other side. Move it down like this. Okay. All right, so their time is their only income producing asset. So this one is simple. This one is simple. So we want is there to stand on the same line with their time. So we are going to pick the Y position property of is there, copy it, click on their time, and then paste it, right? And then we are going to click both of them and reduce their sizes like this. Okay. And then we're going to spread them out like this. Spread them out to the left. Very simple. Right? And then is their only income, right? We want this to be big. It's their only income, right? And then we want to pull this up like this. Okay, producing assets, we want to pull this up as well. Okay, so just be patient with me. You're going to see how all of this is going to add up at the end. Just be patient.
Asset, and their time isn't worth that much. The reason asset and their time isn't worth that much. The reason broke people are broke is and their time isn't worth that much. Isn't worth that much. And their time isn't worth that much. The reason broke people are broke.
Okay, so okay. Sorry, I got lost there for a minute. All right. All right.
The difference between someone that makes 100,000 a year and a million.
The difference between
The difference between someone that makes 100,000. The difference.
okay, once again we upgrade caption to graphic, and as business as usual, we're going to swipe these down. We're going to pull this down like this. Then we're going to select this. Okay. Oh, my After Effects sense kicked in there, sorry. Don't mind me, guys. So this is what it's going to look like.
The difference between someone that makes 100,000.
My After Effects sense keeps kicking in Premiere Pro a lot. Not my fault. That mix. Okay. All right, so let's play the whole thing, because now we are developing a pattern.
The difference between someone that makes 100,000 a year and a million a year isn't just $900,000. It is 9 extra years of their life, because the person making $100,000 has to work for 10 total years to make the same as the person making $1 million in 1 year does. And the reason broke people are broke is because their time is their only income producing asset, and their time isn't worth that much.
Okay, so over here, I think I might not want to end it like this. So let's go to Edit Original and let's just take this off. Let's leave it how it is. And okay, so let's go into animating everything so that it looks good, all right? Okay.
The difference between someone that makes 100,000 a year and a million a year.
100,000 a year and $1 million a year. Okay.
Someone that makes 100.
How many seconds in? How many frames? 104. So let's cut here, and then let's replace with After Effects composition. And then what we are going to do is come to After Effects once again, as usual. Switch this off.
$900,000. 100,000 a year and $1 million a year isn't just $900,000. 100,000 a year and $1 million a year isn't just $900,000. 100,000 a year and $1 million a year isn't just $900,000. 100,000 a year and
So let's put 100K, 100K, and let's make this pop-ins once again. We just have to go with pop-ins extra bold. Okay. 100K, and then 1 million. 1 million. Okay, so
a year and $1 million a year isn't just $900,000. 100,000 a year and $1 million a year isn't just $900,000.
All right, so what we want to do first of all is we want to track this 100K to his left hand and this 1 million to his right hand, right? Okay, so how do we do that? We are going to click on our clip and we are going to say, we're just going to create a null. I've forgotten how to track, God help me. Okay, so double click here, okay? Open this up, right click and say track and stabilize, track motion. We're going to have this section pop up like this. So what we are now going to do is, we have our transform already. We're going to zoom in. Okay, we're going to zoom in here and we're going to pick up, we're going to pick up and drop somewhere here. And then what we are going to say is, it is here and we want it to play. Okay.
A year and $1 million a year isn't just $900,000. $100,000 a year and $1 million a year.
Okay. Now for the target, we're going to edit the target to 100K. For this particular tracking that we have done, right? We're going to edit the target to 100K and let's hope that works perfectly. Let's just close this up for now and let's see. Okay, oh, my bad. Okay, so when we edit the target to 100K, we are supposed to apply. Okay, good. So now we have this setup and oh my bad. What am I doing? Sorry. Let's do this. Add it to this null instead. Okay? And then apply X and Y. Okay, so if we play it now and we select this null, you're going to see this null is moving, right? Now what I want to do is parent this 100K to this null and move it somewhere here. I think that should work.
100,000 a year and $1 million a year isn't just the 100,000 a year and $1 million a year isn't, and $1 million a year isn't just
So
100,000 a year.
This works.
The 100,000 a year and $1 million a year isn't the 100,000 a year and $1 million a year.
This is perfect. All right. The next thing I want to do is I'm going to create, where is a null? With my motion tools, I'm going to add another null. I'm going to keep it somewhere here for the 1 million. And I think I need to duplicate this layer. I can't really recall how to track properly, but just follow what I'm doing. And for this one, I'm going to say track and stabilize, track motion once again. And we're going to move it over here, something like this. And then what we are going to do is place this here. Let's move it in so it selects it properly. Okay, and then I'm going to say play first, like preview it. So you see how that track is following it. It has finished playing, and what I want to do is edit the target to null 3. Null 3 is the target. The first one was null 2, so null 3 is the target. And then I'm going to say apply X and Y axis. Okay. And then I'm going to move, let's come back to the beginning here. I'm going to keep my 1 million somewhere here. And I'm going to parent it to null 3. So this is
a year, and $1 million a year isn't just $900,000. $100,000.
Okay, so how do we make this appear?
The 100,000. The 100,000.
So we're going to use, let me close this down. We're going to use opacity keyframes.
The 100,000.
We're going to use opacity keyframes. 1, 2, make it 0. 1, 2, make it 100. 1, 2, make it 0. 1, 2, make it 100. Okay? And we're going to make all of them whole keyframes. How did I make it whole keyframes? Control plus alternate and just click on it. Not right click or left click, just click on it. Control alternate, click on it to give you those keyframes. So
year and $1 million.
What I want to do is
100,000.
Put it somewhere here like this, and it is going to blink.
The 100,000 a year and $1 million a year. The 100,000 a year and $1 million a year isn't.
Okay, and then I'm going to put this back like this. Okay. All right. So let's see this.
Isn't just $900,000. 100,000 a year and $1 million a year isn't just $900,000. 100,000 a year and $1 million a year isn't just $900,000. 100,000 a year and $1 million a year.
Okay, so for $1 million a year,
100,000 a year and $1 million.
Okay, and $1 million a year, right? So I'm just going to copy these opacity keyframes and paste them here, right?
1,000 a year and $1 million a year isn't.
And then I'm going to also copy these exit keyframes, and then I'm going to like cut it out like this. So let's see how that looks
isn't
now.
Just $900,000. 100,000 a year and $1 million a year isn't just not. Year isn't.
Okay, so I want this to go off earlier. I don't want to see that extra movement.
100,000 a year and $1 million a year isn't just $900,000. 100,000 a year and $1 million a year isn't just $900,000. 100,000 a year and $1 million a year isn't just $900,000. 100,000 a year and $1 million a year isn't just $900,000.
Okay, so here we're going to have the words 900K. Okay? Now we have to animate something called a countdown. 900K, right? Okay? 900K. How do we animate a countdown? Very easy. Honestly, I don't know the expressions of, and what I just do is I go to ChatGPT and I tell it, give me an expression to animate from 0K to 9, you have to be specific, 900K in After Effects. Full stop. I need an expression. This is very important. I need an expression that is time-based, that will work no matter how I move my layer on the timeline. Okay, so After Effects is going to give us an expression right now. It's writing it. And we are just going to copy it and come over back into After Effects. Come here, click this, open our text, Alt-click on the source, and paste the expression.
1,000 a year and $1 million a year isn't just $900,000.
Okay, so now, if you come back to this thing, you see where it says time duration 3 seconds. We want it to be about, you see, anywhere I move the layer to, it starts from 0. If I cut the layer here now, it starts from 0 again. That's why I say time-based, right? Let's see.
In a year isn't just $900,000. 100,000 a year and $1 million a year isn't just nine.
So the 900,000 starts from here, right? And I'm going to say, After Effects, come into this expression, duration, reduce it to 1.
$900,000. 100,000 a year and $1 million a year isn't just $900,000. 100,000 a year and $1 million a year isn't just $900,000. 100,000 a year and $1 million a year isn't just $900,000. 100,000.
So can you see how it's helping us, right? Okay, so let's come back to Premiere Pro. And once again, we're going to preview everything. Sorry, I know this is boring, but we're going to preview everything again. And our animation is coming together, but we are not still done yet. We are not still done. So let's just preview everything. We want to see the flow of the animation now, because whatever I did is updating in After Effects, in Premiere Pro rather. So
The difference between someone that makes 100,000 a year and $1 million a year isn't just $900,000. It is 9 extra years of their life, because the person making $100,000 has to work for 10 total years to make the same as the person making $1 million in 1 year does. And the reason broke people are broke is because their time is their only income producing asset, and their time isn't worth that much. The difference between someone that makes 100,000 a year and $1 million a year.
So before I continue, isn't worth that much. I'm going to select these two texts and I'm going to bring it upgrade caption to graphic. And for this part, bring it down like this. Isn't worth that much. Okay. Let's just pull it here like this.
Isn't worth that much. The difference between someone that makes 100,000 a year and $1 million a year isn't just $900,000. It is 9 extra years of their life, because the person making $100,000 has.
Okay, so 9 extra years of their life. We want to animate that part. So what we're going to do is, once again, we're going to select the whole subtitle and we're going to tell Premiere Pro, please replace this with After Effects compositions, right? So now Premiere Pro has collapsed everything and you see our stuff is messed up, but we're going to fix it in After Effects. Let's come to After Effects. Come over to After Effects. And once again, it is coming as comms in After Effects and we do not want that, right? So what we are going to do is we're going to select all the comms, choose Rich plugin, using the Rich plugin, and we are going to unprecompose them. And we have our bad boys back in the building. So what we are going to do is 9 years. We're going to move it up. Now we are in After Effects, so I'm more comfortable moving things very easily. 9 years. Now, if you come back to Premiere Pro, it is at the center, right? What you want to do is select this thing and move it down like this, back to where it was, right? And we are good. Okay, so let's do this. So it is 9 extra years of their life. Now, their life, I want it to animate on. I don't just want it to be static. So I'm going to come to my Premiere, my composer, and I'm going to pick this, my favorite preset. Let's just scale this down. You need your animation composer. And before I do this, of their life, so their life happens here. What I want to do is I want to go 5 frames backward. Please mark this part. It's very important. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Pull this layer back and then add this effect. Okay, it is added. Now you cannot see it. It doesn't animate fully towards the end. What I want to do is place my something here. And you can see where this bad boy went as far as. So we're going to bring him back somewhere here. And okay, can you see? Okay, so I'm going to put this back here once again. I'm going to just pull it out a bit so it eases a little bit. It's too. Okay. All right, so let's go back to Premiere Pro. Let's preview just this section. You see, we are fixing the sections now gradually. We are almost getting to the end. Before you know it, we are done.
It is 9 extra years of their life. It is 9 extra years of their life. It is 9 extra years of their life. It is 9.
See? Sweet. Very, very simple, very, very straightforward. We are not doing too much. How many minutes have we been recording this? 1 hour 6. Oh my God, we're taking time. Okay, so let's hurry up. So this is the most tricky part of this animation. I'm just going to click it and I'm going to say edit original. Okay. And let's just preview it.
Year does. Because the person making 100,000.
Because
the person making 100. Because the person making a.
When he says 100, like when he says A, we have to catch him at that point. Okay? I have to catch him right there. Because the person making 100,000, and how do we bring in 100,000? Okay, so we're going to use this one. We're going to animate in something like this.
Because the person making $100,000.
Okay.
Because the person making $100,000 has to work for 10 total years to make the same as the person making because the person making $100,000 has to work.
Too slow.
Because the person making $100,000 has to work for 10 total years to make the same as the person making $1 million.
Making $1 million, let's 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Now we are going to cut this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we're going to add the same effect. Let's watch that real quick. Let's watch that again. We are layering things.
Same as the person making $1 million in one.
Okay, we don't need as much time. Let's reduce the time. Let's watch it again.
In 1 year does. Person making $1 million in 1 year does. Person making $1 million in 1 year does. Person making $1 million in 1 year does. Person making $1 million.
Okay. So now what happens in between is where we are going to walk.
Because the person making $100,000 has to work for.
Has to work for. At this point, I'm going to introduce this text. I'm going to use a blink. 1, 2. And what I'm just going to do is I'm going to copy this bad boy. 1, 2. I'm going to make him all hold keyframes, Control, Alt, click, and it's going to change all of them to hold keyframes. So let's play once again and see what we have.
Because the person making $100,000 has to work for 10 total.
Okay. So for
$100,000
has to work for, that's where we want our line, this line right here, this bad boy to start animating on. So how do we do that? We're going to add a trim path. We're going to add a trim path here, and we are going to take it back to 0. See, our bad boy has disappeared. 1, 2, 3. That's 30 frames. I just jumped 30 frames, and we're going to animate it all on. Add our easing. I don't need to teach you easing. Slow, fast, slow. And then let's watch that once again to see if we are lined up correctly before we proceed.
Same as the person making $1 million in one. Because the person making $100,000 has to work for 10 total years.
Oh, I think we didn't make this all the way to 100, yeah. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's make it 5 because it's too fast.
$1 million in 1 year does. Because the person making $100,000 has to work for 10 total years to make the same as the person making $1 million in 1 year does. Because the
Okay. Okay, all right. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to animate all of these bad boys, their positions and their opacity. We want to start where this bad boy starts as well. So we're going to select from 1 to 10 and we're going to all cut them. And we're going to say position keyframes, Shift T to add opacity keyframes. So I select position, opacity, right? Watch this. Move forward 10 frames, position, opacity. Come back 10 frames, bring down the position, switch off the opacity 0. All of them are updated. Select all of them, right? Select all of them, put an easy ease on. You see, all of them are selected. This is all the graphs at once. And then we are going to all come back once again, close all of that up, and then
has to work for 10 total years to make the same as the
perfect. So what we are going to do is select all of them once again. So it's from 1 to 10. We're going to come to our Motion Tools Pro, and we are going to say we want 1 frame. Select this thing because we want to sequence it from bottom to top. So make sure this is selected and then sequence it. You know what? I think I want this to be 2. Yes, sequence it. And now, okay, still too fast. So let's make it 4 and then let's sequence it. All right, I think that's perfect.
Because the person making $100,000 has to work for 10 total years to make the same as the person making $1 million in 1 year does. Because the person making $100,000 has to work for 10 total years to make the same as the person making $1 million.
Okay, in 1 year. So what would in 1 year look like, right? In 1 year, we want to show like an illustration. Something like this. Click our layer, click here, click here, click here, click here. Okay. All right. Bring this down. What you want to do is move this over here like this, move this over here. So we want this to simply
total years to make the same as the person making $1 million
in 1 year. So we're going to add the same blink. Once again, blink animation. We don't want to do too much, just keep it simple. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, not 1, 2, 3, sorry. 2, 1, 2. Copy, paste. Come over here, 1, 2. And paste 100% back so that it reveals itself. And let's just shift right slash is going to make you come back to 100%. Okay. All right. So
make the same as the person making $1 million in 1 year does. Because the person making $100,000 has to work for 10 total years to make the same as the person making $1 million in 1 year does. Because the person making
okay, so now this animation is a little bit too static. So I'm just going to select everything besides the background layer. Take note, besides the background layer. And I'm going to make everything 3D. So we're going to add some zoom ins and some zoom outs. I'm going to pull this up. And yeah, that's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to add my camera. Okay. I'm going to add my camera and say, okay, bad boy. Oh my God, sorry guys. And I'm going to add a null and cut it like this. So we have our camera in here now. We're going to do some zoom in and zoom out. So the 100K happens here. All through this section, we are going to put our current keyframe for a full screen here. And we are going to add a keyframe to center 100K. Okay? 100K. Let's pull it to the side just a bit. Yeah, perfect. So okay, and where's our guy? Yeah, okay. Okay. So let's 10 years. Over a million in 1 year. So before that happens, we are going to zoom in, okay, and we are going to lift this up like this, just for some form of clarity. Just adds more spice to the animation. So let's play that. Okay.
Person making $1 million in 1 year does. Because the person making $100,000 has to work for 10 total years to make the same as the...
Okay, 1, 2, 3. Let's make a slow in, slow out. Work on the spacing. Okay, and then let's do a slow in, slow out here as well. Okay, so we are layering animations on top of each other now.
Because the person making $100,000 has to work for 10 total years to make the same as the person making $1 million in 1 year does. Because the person making $100,000 has to work for 10 total years to make the same as the person making $1 million in 1 year.
Okay, so what I want to do is, while this is happening, I want it to be zooming out slightly. I don't just want it to stand over there like that. Lock these two. Move it up. Okay.
Dollars in 1 year does. Because the person making $100,000 has to work for 10 total years to make the same as the person making $1 million making $1 million.
Okay.
As the person making $1 million in 1 year does. Because the person making $100,000 has to work for 10 total years to make the same as the person making $1 million in 1 year. To make the same as the person making $1 million.
Okay, so $1 million is like a punch in there.
To make the same as the person making $1 million in 1 year does. Because the person making $100,000 has to work for 10 total years to make the same as the person making $1 million in 1 year does. Because the person making
Okay. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add another adjustment layer. I want everything to animate on 12 frames. I just love the look that it gives, posterized time. I'm going to make this 12 frames. And then let's go back to Premiere Pro. Our stuff should have been updated. And let's see how it is looking. So let's preview everything once again. Okay. And I think we're going to animate this last set of subtitles, and then it's a wrap. And we are good to go. We are good to go. We're good to go. We're good to go. Okay. Oh my God. Why is it taking so much time now? Oh, I guess it's because of the 3D layers that I have done in, what is it called? In
the difference between someone that makes 100,000 a year and 1,000,000 a year isn't just $900,000. It is 9 extra years of their life, because the person making $100,000 has to work for 10 total years to make the same as the person making $1,000,000 in 1 year does. And the reason broke people are broke is because their time is their only income producing asset, and their time isn't worth that much. The difference between someone that makes 100
Okay, only that their time.
is because their time is their only income producing asset.
Okay. So we're going to select all of this, and we're going to replace with After Effects compositions. And once again, as usual, it's going to break off. Okay, so let's come here, click everything, come over to Reach. Okay, and on Pre-compose. Okay, and what we want to do is move these bad boys like this back in position. Okay, come back to Premiere Pro, select it. Remember, that's why we have our ruler here, and bring this over here like this. Let it line up properly. Let's come over here and let's add their time, right? We're going to add our, no, not this one. This one, yes. So their time, okay, their time is their, no, sorry, is their only, so for this one, 1, 2, 3, 4, just a little bit. And my bad, hold on, I'm looking for one. Okay, this guy, let's use him. Only income, let's push him backwards a bit. Income. Only income. You know what, let's just use this guy. I've not used him before. I want to push him back just a bit, so we have something that looks like this. Okay, so you see how we have that sweet looking animated titles, and their time isn't worth that much. So let's preview everything. I'm not going to add any transitions. I'm not going to add any cuts. It's just the whole essence is for you to understand how a very basic video is made. So let's watch that.
The difference between someone that makes 100,000 a year and 1,000,000 a year isn't just $900,000. It is 9 extra years of their life, because the person making $100,000 has to work for 10 total years to make the same as the person making $1,000,000 in 1 year does. And the reason broke people are broke is because their time is their only income producing asset, and their time isn't worth that much. The difference between someone that makes
Okay, so that's it for this tutorial. I hope you learned something. See you guys in my next tutorials. I will drop the source file in the description. There will be a Google Drive link to the source file, and you can download and do whatever you want to do with it. See you in my next video.